Well, the one that's heavy in nuclear is going to be given carbon emission credits. And what are they going to do? Turn around and sell it to you? We've just given a windfall to one group over another. Same thing if you've got a hydroelectric plant or something like that. They're picking winners and losers. And of course, how are they doing that? Based upon who has the most political pull. They try to buy people off. And you see this throughout the system. In fact, in Europe, this has got to be such a scandal by how they were doing this, because there were actually utilities that were getting carbon credits, selling those carbon credits, and raising the price of their electricity by saying, well, they would impose these carbon because other people have high-price electricity. So there's a wonderful little spoil system going on there. And of course, who are the biggest victims? You and I. All right, I've gone through that. All right, the bottom line is, the basic fact is, in political and economic life, that when you've got a system like this, what you're going to have is a redistribution of wealth from the powerless to the powerful. That's what this is really all about. All right, and I don't want to sound like some sort of weirdo conspiracy theorist, but there's a reason why, for instance, GE is out there pushing for this, because they plan to make money off of it. We're going to make the windmills. They push to get rid of the incandescent light bulb. Why? Because they can sell you a more expensive compact fluorescent light bulb, even though they're junk, And it's all going to be based upon who can make money off of it. This one, how far into it am I?
How many minutes?
Yeah, well, I'll wrap it up pretty quick. Okay, I'll try to get through it in 5. There are enormous inefficiencies in the economy created by a cap and trade system. For instance, in Europe, they have had about 3 years experience in this. 5 years since they passed a law, about 3 years since they really got it going. And in that time, the trading price of carbon has varied by 400% at various times. It goes like that, it goes like that. Now, if you're a business person, it's almost impossible to know what the cost of your inputs are going to be, because this is going to be a major input. All right, and it's going to be varying all over the map. So it's just one more variable out there that's almost impossible to figure out. And of course, it's going to be one added incentive to get the heck out of Europe. Further, and the United States, when we get this, further, because they are trying to reduce carbon emissions by 20% in the next 10 years, they're expecting the price of those permits, because their marginal value is going to shoot up quite a bit as everyone tries to ratchet it down. They're expecting them to go up by 700%. So it's going to be going like this all the time, making it almost impossible for anyone to figure out what to invest in. Everything is going to be determined by politics and volatility in the market. And so it's going to have a dramatically negative effect on the economy. One last point that I want to get across here. Europe, as I mentioned at the beginning, Europe actually has seen a reduction in their carbon dioxide emissions since 1990. And there's one very simple reason. Almost all of that reduction took place in the 1990s. And it had nothing, well before the carbon trading scheme came along. And let me just show you why. The largest single contributor to CO2 reductions was the collapse of communism. Communist countries were so grotesquely inefficient that they were incredibly carbon intensive. And in particular, East Germany, they had all this industry in East Germany, ridiculously inefficient. And so when you saw East and West Germany merge, those factories closed down. And let me just show you this. All right, nice little graph. You can see it starts off in 1990. All right, the fall of the Berlin Wall happens, and you get this enormous reduction in carbon dioxide emissions. And you see that big blue line I put in there? That's when they put in the carbon trading scheme. Emissions went up. Now, it turns out 2008, they went down. What happened in 2008? Yes, the recession. Europe shows us there's a surefire way to reduce carbon dioxide emissions, and that's to have your economy collapse. That's the lesson that we've seen out of the European experience. It's not that this is an easily doable thing, despite the fact that they have in fact met their Kyoto Protocol targets. They met them because they were able to say, huh, look at all the plants that we were able to shut down because they were horrible. All right, as they move to things being much more efficient, you know, hey, guess what? Carbon dioxide emissions went down. But overall, the only way that you can have substantial decreases, at least in the near term, in carbon dioxide emissions, is have the economy go to hell. And that's what's happening. And so that's the lesson that we can take out of the European experience. And with that, I'm going to turn things over.
Any question?
Yeah.
If I give you a flash drive, would you give me a copy of this?
Sure. Sure.
Come on back, please.
Sure.
So I have a question too. I, was learned that the Slovak part of the former Czechoslovakia was a very inefficient manufacturing place and very filthy too. Would that not have also been one of the contributors?
Yeah, although it was not a member of the EU.
Oh.
So this was, what happened was you were able to bring in all those inefficient factories, so you got the spike in CO2, and then, which I think, I mean, I can't go into the minds of what the Europeans were thinking, but I think that was a key component of their willingness to sort of go along with the Kyoto Protocol was, you know.
It's going to be easy for.
Yeah. So.